Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Boni, for the invitation to be here today and to have this quite interesting role of first respondent. I was told this allows me to react to give a first reaction to what other people have said, and maybe to also add my couple of thoughts to that. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Alexander Geurtz. I work for SES. For those of you who do not know SES, it's a global satellite operator based in Europe, originating out of Luxembourg, and now firmly established all over the world. We're a founding member of the EMEA Satellite Operator Association, as well as the 5G Infrastructure Association, which is part of the 5GPP that was mentioned. A few words on the satellite industry and its potential role in 5GPP before I turn to the comments of what we heard before. The satellite industry, and I have 3 points on that. The satellite industry, first, is providing a broad range of critical communications and broadcast services today. And we're investing billions of euros already today in innovative and new satellite systems for worldwide deployment. Those investments are being made today, they're planned, they're firm. They're not exclusively for 5G, and that's often a misunderstanding. They're not exclusively for 5G, but they can be used for 5G, and hopefully we can talk about that. Europe has actually is the home to a number of the leading companies, the leading satellite companies in the world. The top 5, 3 of those, 4 of those are from Europe. And all of them are very active around the globe. And satellite really remains the only architecture capable of delivering broadband to mobile, for instance, planes and ships, and various platforms across the 7 seas of the world. So that's the first point, the critical communications that are being brought by satellite. The second point is that what we see is that video-centric content is really a key driver of demands of the capabilities of future networks. And this will also apply to 5G. And from our perspective, in order to address that challenge, all possible network technologies need to be leveraged in order to come to an end-to-end solution that really is inclusive and that allows everybody to benefit from those services. This requires a collaborative effort between all stakeholders. I think Mr. Boni mentioned that already, and we as the satellite industry are actively engaging in that process. It means that mobile operators, mobile vendors, satellite operators and service providers, small medium enterprises, and also the research institutions and universities must all work closely together to focus on the right use cases, on the most pragmatic requirements, and to define the right architectures and solutions for 5G. The 5GPP is actually a unique instrument in the world to enable that. None of the other regions have that capability, and Europe can be very proud of that. What would happen if we fail to establish that fruitful collaboration? This is of course a theoretical question only. It will not happen. But what if it were to happen? If that were to happen, really what you end up is a new digital divide. The European Commission and the member states have worked years and years in avoiding digital divide in the, I would say, fixed network. And if there is not a collaborative effort of all stakeholders for 5G, something similar might really happen in 5G. That is to be avoided. The third point, some of the speakers mentioned spectrum. We believe as the satellite industry that for 5G spectrum access should really be an enabler an accelerator of 5G deployment and not a derailer. A lot of discussion is being held, especially about spectrum above 6 gigahertz. And what many people do not know is that a lot of the spectrum above 6 gigahertz is actually actively used by the satellite industry for the services I referred to before. It was said that WRC 15 may not have been successful. I think Philippe mentioned that from his perspective. WRC identified only for frequencies above 6 gigahertz a total of 30 gigahertz spread out over 11 different options that are going to be studied for sharing and access up to the next WRC in 2019. That's a huge amount of spectrum. And from the satellite industry, we think that in particular the spectrum above 30 gigahertz, the spectrum around 32 gigahertz, can be an ideal case if millimeter wave spectrum is required for a rapid and non-contentious deployment. All other options may be more or less contentious, but among those 11, the 32 gigahertz is really the one that will be least contentious. So those were my 3 points from the satellite industry. The range of services that we provide, the video-centric content driving the demands of networks, and spectrum. Let me then maybe pick out a few points of the different speakers. I think Mr. Boni actually, with his 7-point summary, paved the way for everybody else to latch onto. So that was great. In his first point, and I think several people mentioned that the cooperation of all stakeholders is really critical. There's another element that was said to have a common EU framework and to simplify regulations. One element that maybe the audience can react to later is I heard various speakers talk about less regulation, which I can understand, and at the same time more EU intervention in helping to kickstart services. So on the one hand there's less regulation, on the other hand more EU intervention. What is the right balance? One of the key points of Mr. Boni, which was also repeated across the various speeches, was about the importance of the verticals. In order for 5G to be something really different, it was emphasized we need to work the full ecosystem with the different verticals, and in order to have a rapid deployment, maybe pick 1 or 2 verticals that should be prioritized to really demonstrate and then deploy 5G. For this, the roadmap that was mentioned and that Mr. Kamperlago also detailed is extremely important. SES is a contributor to that work. I think Nokia was very clear that to lead we need to be first. Are we going to be first? In 5G we were the first to have the collaborative effort. So I think with the, and this is maybe also a question for the audience, the collaborative effort may take a little bit longer than a concerted national effort such as for Korea or for China or for Japan. But actually by bringing the various stakeholders together with a slightly slower ramp up, you can actually achieve higher results if it's properly coordinated. Again, the action plan of the Commission will be critical. I think Nokia also, and that was interesting, suggested that maybe the EU can help with public funding for certain services that would otherwise not be viable, such as in the public security area. And this may be an interesting debate to have about to what extent the EU can subsidize or promote specific services. I think the speech from Philippe Lucas of Orange was very clear in the requirements from an operator who's very active in 5GPP and the standards, that really for 5G to make a difference, it needs to involve very tightly the verticals, and that in terms of spectrum, it's very important for operators to be able to reuse what they already have, as under licensing for the new services, and that 5G is not just about occupying new spectrum, claiming new spectrum, and seeing what kind of services can be deployed, but really leverage what they already have, build that out together with verticals, and bring new services to the customers. An element that consumers may not like in Orange speech was the fact that for operators to invest, they need to have money to invest, and for them to have money to invest, they somehow need to get more money from consumers, directly or indirectly, whether it's subscriptions, advertising, etc. So there's maybe an interesting debate to have also on how this increased revenue can take place. I think over the last several years, operators have suffered from reduced revenue rather than increased, which has limited their capability to invest. Ian Miller from Telefonica complemented this, also referring to elements like the support the EU can give to fostering the ecosystem, and also helping to get new revenue. And I think he also referred to a very important element, which is the showcase event, which, if you look at the timing from Orange of Commercial Service 2020, I guess the showcase element should be in the 2018-2019 time frame, which is when the standards are not fully done yet, but you can already demonstrate successfully what can be done with 5G while the standards and products are being finalized. Finally, Mr. Campolargo of the Commission promised that all the regulatory questions will be addressed in the new release of the DSM. So we look forward to that. Emphasized the involvement of new industries or verticals, and also gave the outline of the action plan that's being coordinated by the Commission, and that will be issued later this year, with an emphasis on the involvement of the vertical industries, a timeline for commercial deployment, and the need for sort of innovative collaboration of the different actors. He also emphasized the need for fiber for backhaul. My question to the audience will be, how much money will be required to have all the backhaul fibered? Is fiber the only answer to backhaul? Are there other solutions for backhaul? And if fiber is the only answer, will we have the 5G services in 2020? With that, I would conclude my first response. Thank you very much.